Hi and welcome, warm welcome to the third and last day of the ITB Berlin Convention 2025. How has it been? Was it 2 packed days for you? I see you all look awake. I'm surprised because there were so many parties yesterday. So who went out to party yesterday? Oh, that's not many. We have the serious crowd here. We have the business crowd here. Well, I have to say for myself, my name is Leah Jordan. I'm thrilled to be your host for today. I'm very sad it's my last day because I get used to having you around. It was like so nice, 2 days being surrounded by the brightest minds of our industry, the energy in the room. It was just amazing to feel how the audience was soaking in everything they were hearing on stage. Well, we have a packed day again, so get prepared for today's e-travel track until 1:45. We're here at the Hall 6-1, the red stage. And first things come first. We have to shout out and say thank you to our sponsor of today, who's Checkout. You saw the video. Checkout is a global payment solutions provider, and we're absolutely grateful that they sponsor this day because sometimes you need some sponsoring, right, to make it happen, to have a great crew, to have, everything we have to set up here. So thank you to Checkout, and hi to all the familiar faces peeking in. Come in, take a seat. We have a great masterclass coming in. You will not miss it. I can promise it's a good time. I have to say it, we have the hashtag ITB Berlin Convention. We love you to post and share because the more we can spread and raise awareness for this event, the better for us in the long term, right? So we love to see your posts. But let me give you a high-level overview what you can expect here today. So maybe you decide to stay with us because I tell you, we want to have a great time here. We are looking at 9 sessions coming up. First, we're going to have a prompting class. Prepare yourself to have acceleration of your career because when you leave in a half an hour, you're going to be an expert in prompting. We have Google coming, telling you how to do it. It's always good to actually get your own hands to it, right? Because the past 2 days, there was not a single session, I think, where we didn't touch upon AI. So good to get to work today. And after that, we're going to discuss the redefinition of retailing in the travel industry. We're going to talk about airline commercial strategy revolution, what's changing there. We're going to have TikTok here. And they will come with an absolute fantastic best practice case showing you how their tour is leveraging TikTok for social media and how they are engaging with their community and building their brand in that social media channel. We will have Trip Matrix here. We will have discussions about Web3 in travel. We will discuss where we are with blockchain in travel. We will look at AI agents and how they will completely change the loyalty ecosystem in travel. I find this super intriguing to have a session about that. Then we also have the big players of our industry here. As I said, we have Google, we have Sabre, we have Grand Metropolitan Hotels, we have MasterCard, Get Your Guide, but we also have the smaller ones, the disruptive ones, the ones with the new ideas that also need stage time. So we're going to have Holy Bob, Chain for Travel, Tectris VC, and Me Protocol. So you see, it's worth your time. So maybe change your plans that you had for after this session and stay with us. It's going to be nice. But without any further ado, I see you standing there already, being ready for you. It's my absolute honor to welcome on stage here for you guys a Google Prompting Masterclass. So you think you can prompt? I promise in half an hour you can. Please welcome on stage with me, Google Cloud Customer Engineer at Google, Eoghan Okronotnikova. Thank you. Your stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good morning. It's a pleasure and an honor to be the first speaker on stage to get the most energized and the freshest audience. I hope we're going to keep it this way also after the masterclass. And I would like to start with a question. So who of you wanted to have a magic wand when you were a child? So you could just swing it and in an instant you would get whatever you want. An ice cream truck, maybe a puppy, maybe a younger sister or brother, I guess everyone had at least one moment when you wished for something like that. However, what we did not realize back then is that having a magic wand would have only brought us halfway there. Because the success of getting what you want would very much depend on how well we can articulate our wish, how we can give the right amount of details, how we can describe it, right? So imagine getting an ice cream truck full of plain vanilla ice cream, right? Wouldn't be that exciting. Also, what would be the size of the truck? What kind of other flavors it should carry? Should it have toppings or not? These are all very important questions. And today, we are all adults in this room. We are actually facing a very similar challenge. Because we have this amazing technology available to us, AI, that is supposed to revolutionize the way we work, supercharge our productivity. However, I guess if you came today to this masterclass, you're also wondering, how can I get the most out of it? How can I prompt better? How can I really get what I want out of AI? And today, myself, Evgenia Ogorodnikova, I'm a custom engineer at Google Cloud, and I will share some practical tips and tricks on how you can tame AI and make it work better for you. Our session is going to be, as I said, very practical and interactive. So if you want to follow along some of the prompts, feel free to go to gemini.google.com or just scan a QR code. Before we begin, when we think about prompting, what do you think? Is it more similar to art or science? On one hand, AI models, we know that they are developed by engineers, right? So if you look under the hood of an AI model, you will see very complex algorithms, vectors, embeddings, numbers, so definitely science. But on the other hand, if you ever interacted with a large language model, you know that it definitely doesn't feel like it. It's more like mixing different words, approaches, similar how an artist would mix different colors, and sometimes getting very surprising results. So prompting is both, and we should treat it as such. On one hand, we should know the basics, the foundations of how AI models work and operate, what they can do well, what they cannot do well. But on the other hand, we should be open to experimentation, being brave, being creative, and find new ways of expressing ourselves. Before we move on to practical tips and tricks, there are a few key things I want you to remember. First of all, every model is different, meaning that if you interacted with one AI model in the past and then you're trying something new, you might not get the same results immediately. It might require some adjustment. And this is particularly true for specialized models that are trained to work only with one specific narrow set of tasks. For example, image generation. If you would prompt an image generating model, this prompt would look completely different from the language model. Keep that in mind. Second, start simple and then iterate. Start with very simple prompt and then add additional details, clarifications, refinements, limitations, one by one. The advantage of this approach is that, first of all, you will see how the output of the model changes with every increment. And this will allow you to draw some generalization of what works well and what doesn't, and will step up your prompting game in the long run. Second, if you don't like how the output of the model changes after the next iteration, you can always roll it back, and you will know exactly what caused this undesirable performance. And finally, be open to experiments. It should also be fun, right? And even if it doesn't work the first time, practice makes perfect. Now, let's start with very concrete tips and tricks. And the first most important rule when dealing with large language models is context matters. AI models are trained on vast amounts of data, billions and billions of sources. So if you give it a very generic prompt, like this one, write an egg copy for a luxury hotel in the Alps, you will get a very generic response, kind of one size fits all. And this is probably not what we want, right? In this case, giving context will give the model the direction, will guide it to the body of training data that it has that will most fit your requirements. And one of very good ways to do this is to give AI a persona. You are a digital marketing expert with expertise in luxury tourism. Write an ad copy for a 5-star hotel in the Alps. So here we give a persona to the AI model. It's same as giving an actor a role. It sets the framework. It defines the language. It gives idea to the AI model what additional inputs should be considered. And if you try writing these two prompts and looking at the output, you will see that with the second prompt, you will also get information about what marketing strategy does this ad copy help me to achieve, or what kind of visuals should I include next to this ad copy, and so on. So the perspective changes. Now, experimenting with personas can be really, really fun. You do not have to even limit yourself to the real personas that exist in the world, right? You can also combine features that might not exist in the same persona in the real life. By the way, all images are AI generated as well, and my favorite is the social media influencer that creates the travel content. In other words, think about it the following way. If you have a task at hand, who would be the best person in the world to do this task for me? And give this persona to AI model. Now, if you are a frequent prompter, you might find yourself at some point typing same prompt over and over again. Or you might be using same persona over and over again. Is there a way to reduce this repetition and to make this process more efficient? Yes. You can do this by using gems. What are gems? In the context of Gemini, Google Gemini model, gems are customized versions of this large AI model, and they are customized for you and by you. The way it works is the following. You give instructions to the gem once, you set the goal, the objective it should achieve, give all the context, and then every time you interact with this customized version of the AI model, you don't need to repeat yourself. You can give it the task straight away, and it will follow the instructions you set when you created it. I can tell you about the gem that I use most often. I'm not a native German speaker, so sometimes I have struggles when I interact with my customers or colleagues in writing in German. I would say der, die, das kind of challenges. And I created a gem who's called Franzi. And now it's time you meet her. Franzi is my best friend. I use it really, really often. So if you are at gemini.google.com, you can go on the left pane to the gems section and to Gem Manager. This is where you can find the gems that are pre-created for you by Google, and where you can also create your custom gems. So let's look at what instructions I gave to Franzi. First of all, I set the main objective. Your main objective is to help me communicate via email, chat, with my German-speaking colleagues and customers. Then I specify what kind of tasks I will give to this gem, and I also specify what the tone of my messages should be like. It should be friendly and professional. I also give it context that I refer to most of my stakeholders per du in German or informal you in English. That would be, and I highlight that my communication should be precise and crisp, and if it encounters any abbreviations, it should assume that they are from the field of cloud computing. So you can imagine how much time I save every time I want to get a quick translation of a sentence or email to make it sound, let's say, more precise and more correct in the German language. Now, Franzi is a gem whose main task is translation. However, what you can also do with gems is that you can give them their own knowledge base. There is a possibility to add files and give instructions to the gem to only reply to your questions based on these files. This way, you can also give AI knowledge that it doesn't have in its training set, but this is specific to you and to your needs. Now, AI is really great at generative tasks, such as generating text. What it's also really great at is summarization. If you want to use AI to summarize documents, I do not recommend you to use a very generic prompt like this, Summarize 2025 Global Travel Trends Report. I mean, if the text you are summarizing is 1 page long, this is totally fine. But if you have a text that is 20, 30, 100 pages long, there are many ways to summarize it actually. How can we improve this prompt? We can improve it by specifying that we want to summarize 2025 global travel trends reports in 300 words, so we give the length of the output we want to get. We also want our summary to focus on 3 most important trends. And finally, we specify what kind of format it should be presented at, and this is a bullet list in our case. So this way you can get way more predictable results when you work with summarization tasks. Next on, positive phrasing. I think our world could generally use more positivity, and staying positive is very important, particularly when you prompt. Why? Because AI models really struggle with understanding no, and this is by design. It means that if you use phrases such as don't, do not, no in your prompts, like in this example, they're gonna be most likely either omitted completely or they will be misinterpreted. How can we rewrite this prompt to make it more digestible for an AI model? Let's imagine that we are booking a weekend trip and we want some recommendations for museums we can visit. We do not want museums that are going to be closed either on Saturday or Sunday, and we do not want museums that can only be reachable by car. There is a way to say it better. And this is, suggest museums that are open during during weekends and that are accessible by public transport or walking. So we rewrote, we have the same meaning, but we do not use any negation anymore. And this might be a little bit challenging at the beginning, so always keep in mind that you should phrase your prompts in a way that there is no negation in them. Just try to focus more on what you want rather than what you do not want. And over time, this becomes quite intuitive for you. There is another interesting task or another type of task that we humans do very well intuitively, but that AI models can struggle with. And this is dealing with complex tasks. And we do not even realize how many decisions, how many complex tasks our brain processes every day. For example, am I gonna get to ITB by public transport or by taxi? Okay, I seem to make both, but the taxi is more expensive and the train is next to me. Oh no, the train is late. I'd rather get a taxi not to stress myself, you know? So there was a dozen of different decisions that was made during that time, which you did not even realize. And unless probably someone asks you, please describe how exactly did you get to this conclusion, right? So how should we do this the right way for the LLM to get us? This is breaking down complex tasks. Let me give you another example. Imagine you have an intern and it's their first day at work. They just started. And you want them to prepare for you a sales report for your top selling destinations for last year. Are you going to send the intern just with this information and with this task to do it? No, right? You probably will first tell them where to find the data. Then you will tell them how many best-selling destinations should be in this report. Should it be 5? Should it be 10? Then you would also probably highlight what KPIs need to be included in it. And finally, in what format the output should be presented. Should it be a presentation? Should it be a spreadsheet? And even if you would have sent the intern to do this task without giving any further instructions, the intern would have probably come back 5 times and ask you these clarifying questions. The problem with LLMs is that they will not come back to ask, right? They will try to give you the most feasible, generic answer they can based on, let's say, their abilities to interpret this task. So breaking down complex tasks is important. Now, how do we prompt it? Let's look at a very concrete example. So our complex task is we are booking a vacation in Austrian Alps with a family for skiing, and we want some recommendations of family-friendly ski areas. If it doesn't sound too complex for you at first, it actually is. Because first of all, think, What is family friendly? How do we define it? How should it filter the resorts? Second, if there is a resort that is family friendly, but for example, it doesn't have good skiing conditions in March where we want to go, what should be priority? Which criteria is more important? Let's have a look how the perfect prompt for this task would look like. Recommend a family-friendly ski area following the steps. We already identified that certain steps should be followed. And then we list the steps one by one in the order they should be executed using the words such as first, then, and finally. First, 10 best-rated Austrian ski areas should be identified. Then those should be filtered by the criteria if they have a large number of blue slopes. And finally, those areas should further be filtered by those that have good skiing conditions in March when we want to go on vacation. And finally, a bullet list should be provided with description why this resort fits the criteria. Now let's have a look how this prompt would be executed. As we see, the model follows our steps exactly in the same order as we ask them to. And this has several major advantages. First of all, the response of LLM is not a black box anymore, right? You can actually see how it came to this conclusion. Second, if at one of the steps the instructions were not given very clearly, you can always go back and rewrite just this one step without having to rewrite the whole prompt. So it gives you way more control over the output of an AI model, and it reaches the goal how you would have done this, right? Using your criteria, using your steps. So breaking complex tasks, if possible, will definitely bring your prompting game to the next level. Now, I would say the only better way to do this, or how could we make this even better, is if we would be able to book the hotel right away, right? Or at least give some recommendations with our dates and with our hotels that also fit our criteria in terms of budget, for example. However, large language models cannot do this by default. Why? Yes, they are trained on a vast amount of information, but this information is only up to date until the point when they were trained. And after that, they don't have any knowledge about the real world anymore, let alone the real-time data about rooms availability or prices on hotel websites, right? And this makes AI models, in many cases, not so useful. For example, if I ask what's the weather like at Berlin, it doesn't really help me to know that in March, on average, the weather is between 7 and 8 degrees centigrade and with moderate precipitation. What I want to know, do I need to pack an umbrella? Is it raining this week? So this is the benefit that the real-time data would bring. However, there is actually a way to connect AI models to real life, and this can be done with extensions. Gemini offers a number of extensions that can connect you to various sources of real-time information. Here on the screen, you see 3 extensions that are probably most relevant for ETB attendees. And these are Google Flights, Google Hotels, and Google Maps. However, you can also connect to Google Calendar, Gmail, Google Drive, and so on. In order to use the extensions, there is a certain syntax that has to be observed. Let's have a look how they work. So first of all, if you never used extensions before, they need to be activated, and this can be done under Settings, Extensions, and you have the list of all extensions that are available, and the toggle should just be moved to the right to activate them. After this, the extensions can be used. Now, I want to find a hotel in Berlin for this Friday under 200 euros using, and now I'm going to use the symbol @ and I see all the extensions that are available to me. And I choose Google Hotels. What is happening now? We see that the extension Google Hotels was activated, and Gemini was able to get access to real-time data about hotels in Berlin for this Friday under 200 euros a night. Working with extensions can really step up your prompting game, because you can then use AI for so many more types of tasks apart from just text generation and summarization. It can really become your everyday companion for different tasks and different challenges that you have. So this sums up our masterclass today. I hope the tips and tricks that you learned will be helpful for you to tame the AI models and to bring your prompting skills to the next level in order to get what you want from this amazing technology. And just remember, the magic wand is here, and now you just need to prompt. Thank you.
That's